The capital town of Oslo, Bislett in Oslo. That also is a 6-lane track. Makes it very good for spectators and for the athletes who get howled on from very close quarters. This is the 3,000 metre steeplechase. Names to look for here. That's probably Kipkoech Limo, a young Kenyan who's been enlisted as the pacemaker for his colleague, who's in fact right at the back at the moment, Boniface Morandi. There he is with the red top, blue shorts, just working his way up the outside in lane 2, but currently leading Kipkoech Limo. Second behind him, Ivar Tarski. Now this is interesting. In the programme he's down as Estonian. Now we've seen the promise or the threat of the breakup of the Soviet Union, and here's a minor proof of it, if you like. Rather than be known as a Soviet athlete, Ivar Tarski has come as an Estonian, one of the Baltic states which were independent, of course, before the Second World War, along with Latvia and Lithuania. But that's Kipkoech Limo of Kenya in the lead, Tarski of Estonia second, in fact just being passed by the outstanding race favourite Boniface Morandi. He's wearing 13, but I don't imagine it will be long before everyone will be able to distinguish him, because he really should stamp his authority on this race. Also running number 12, Arto Kuusisto, who's the leading Finn. The Finns have had quite a decent record in steeplechasing over the years, as in fact have the Swedes, but it's quite a while now since Anders Gerderud won the Olympic title and set a Swedish record of 8:08, which still stands. Now even Morandi hasn't done that time. Morandi's best is 8:23.40. Now that's the famous clock tower which we opened this programme with a shot of. It's not the bell signalling the last lap, it in fact is the clock on the celebrated clock tower ringing 7 o'clock. Gorgeous evening in the 1912 Olympic Stadium. A lot of athletics history attached to this stadium and city, incidentally, as Morandi assumes the lead, which I doubt he's going to relinquish. Certainly the times on paper, he should finish this race well clear of his opponents. Talking about the history of the stadium and city, 2 years after those 1912 Olympic Games, Stockholm was the venue for the foundation of the International Amateur Athletic Federation, which now governs the sport worldwide. Now, I mentioned the Bislett Stadium in Oslo. Well, the Norwegians boast about the 50 or so world records that have been set in Bislett over the years, but the Swedes are very discreet about the 60 or so world records that have been set here. I should imagine that there's no other track in the world that has been a venue for so many world records. And it's appropriate that Morandi should be leading this steeplechase, because the world record for this event was set in this stadium at the Mobile Grand Prix meeting a couple of years ago by Peter Koech, I beg your pardon, or beg his pardon, 8 minutes 5.35. Now we're well into the second kilometre, and it was 2:46.1 for the first kilometre. Now that's not going to take Morandi anywhere close to his colleague Koech's world record. Now also the 1991 leading time of Moses Kiptanui, who was the World Junior 1500 metres champion last year, and he goes to Tokyo World Championships as favourite for the steeplechase. A race he's only run 5 times, but one of those times, and in fact I think it was only the second occasion, Kiptanui ran here again in the Mobile Grand Prix meeting 5-6 weeks ago, and he ran 8 minutes 7.89. Really his first serious attempt at the distance, and he got within 2 seconds of Peter Koech's world record. He's also done 8 minutes 11, 8:13, Kiptanui that is. Morandi here's on 8:23.40, which is a couple of years old. Very good cross-country runner. He was 11th in the World Championships this year in Antwerp. A race won by Khalid Skar of Morocco. Skar will of course be one of the favourites for the 5 and 10,000 metres at Tokyo. Now Morandi's not going to Tokyo. a man whom we expected to see here, Julius Kariuki, the Olympic champion, pulled out at the last minute because he found that he is going. Now, there's a lot of consternation following the championships in Kenya 2 or 3 weeks ago, because Kariuki, the Olympic champion, only finished 4th. Now, the man in front of him, another Kipkoech, incidentally, Johnston Kipkoech, he had the qualifying time, so there really was no reason, if they were taking the first 3, why he shouldn't have gone. But Kenyan selectorial politics being what they are, first Kariuki was named, then he was deselected, as the term is nowadays, then he was back in, then he was out, and then finally, well, we hope for his sake, a couple of days before this meeting, he heard that he had been definitively selected, so he said he didn't really need to come to this meeting anymore. And Julius Kariuki, the Olympic champion, is going to the Tokyo World Championships, or certainly at the time of speaking, and he's left this race wide open for Boniface Morandi, his army colleague from Kenya, 11th in the World Championships. He must have about a 40-50 metres lead over the Finn Arto Kuusisto, with, I think, Aivar Tarski of Estonia in 3rd place. The early pacemaker, Kipkoech Limo, also Kenya, is way back. And in fact, it's Peder Troldborg, a Dane, who's gone into 2nd place. Boniface Morandi has a lead he's not going to relinquish. It's about 45 metres, 50 metres. Troldborg of Denmark is 2nd. Arto Kuusisto of Finland is 3rd. And Aivar Tarski of Estonia is 4th at the moment. Well, it's the Kenyan mountain men against the Northlanders. Dane, a Finn and an Estonian, fighting for 2nd place, but way behind this man, Boniface Morandi. Now, most of the training venues in Kenya, as you will have surely heard over the years, are at least 2,000 metres altitude, and that's why Morandi, who probably would only be a middling athlete in any other country of the world, that's why he's as good as he is. Now, if you're born, you live most of your life, and you train under the additional stress of having less oxygen coming into your lungs when you're doing those searing track sessions or those long cross-country runs, and when you come down to sea level at places like Stockholm here, then it means that the red blood corpuscles can convert oxygen so much better. And basically it's like a high-performance car. These fellas can just go much, much faster than people who live at sea level or who don't train as hard. So well into the last lap, stuttering a bit over one of the penultimate hurdles. Nonetheless, Boniface Morandi of Kenya carries on the great tradition in the steeplechase for the Kenyans, which extends now some 20-odd years since people like Kip Keino moved from the 1,500 metres, at which he won the Olympic gold medal at Mexico in 1968, again at high altitude, incidentally. He moved to the steeplechase in Munich in 1972 and won that one too. Bit of a finishing sprint for Boniface Morandi of Kenya. A very easy win on a gorgeous evening in Stockholm. And that looks as if the Dane Troldborg is going to be 2nd. Morandi wins 8:31.95. Troldborg of Denmark 2nd, 8 minutes 40.81. But Aivar Tarski of Estonia is 3rd in 8:43.41. Boniface Morandi of Kenya taking a tour around the 4,500 or so spectators here at the Stockholm Games.